Sometimes I set my phone in front of the, like on the laptop, and I try to use the mouse like I can control it. I don't know what I'm thinking. I know the mouse is controlling behind it.
To believe these stories because they say things you don't want to believe. Like, there were dragons. No, there weren't dragons, so we can't believe the story, even though you don't know if there was dragons. You weren't living back then.
You don't know.
There weren't giants because we know everything about giants, even though you didn't live back then, right? So
the guy's talking about the Trojan War, and let's cut to the mouse. Before I delete my videos out of here, you got to see this mouse in this little house. Look at this little mouse. He's just in here doing his thing, and he got caught up, and then like he's got peanuts in there, but okay, now that you've seen the mouse, see, I left myself a clue for editing reasons, but I got the allergies. I've been out for the day. Head's all fucked up, all fucking sleepy. It's almost midnight, and I'm going back to sleep. Like, my brain is in a fog, and it will not lift. It's not lifting. I know it's fucking environmental, but there's not much I can do about it. I got a sore throat, but that's from fucking heartburn, burning my throat. It's just having an all around fucked up experience of life. My grandmother, speaking of Helen of Troy, I start to think about it because my grandmother, when she was like Helen of Troy, because she had been with my grandpa, then she burned off for a whole year and married somebody else. It's like she went to Troy. Now she came back and got married again, got a divorce and remarried my grandfather again, who's not my grandfather. I'm a product of the Trojan War myself, because my mom was the baby that she had. I guess she decided she didn't want to be with the guy. But in the terms of shit that goes on in the 50s, that was some sloppy, scandalous ass shit. You couldn't pull that shit in the 60s without having to fucking move across the country. So I don't know how she managed. I don't know how she managed to do it. You know, I guess it's the actual marrying somebody and divorcing them. I guess if you're gonna do it, that's the way it has to be done. For the 50s people. For me, I think it's still kind of bullshitty. You know? Having the same experience myself with a woman, doing fucking scandalous ass shit. It's the last thing you want during your marriage. You know? And I've just been thinking about that dynamic a lot. You know? Because what difference does the marriage make? I mean, if you're with somebody, you're with somebody. Maybe y'all are swingers. You know? That guy's outside and I didn't even know it. I had to go out there and check on him. I still haven't told him to fuck off. I really don't need to. I don't really want to. It seems like it'd be rude and more problematic. He's just trying to duck out. He's got a really wild looking chick in there without a shirt on. No, and no. I mean, not for me. I'm not the one. But I know what he's doing. And he's not driving around on the streets. So it seems like a better play in the handling of nature. Just, you know, let him park and chill. He's not fucking with none of your shit. You know him. You enjoy talking to him. I have to check the list on that. Is this true? He's supposedly a murderer, though. My friend said that he and this girl murdered a friend of his, but I don't know what to believe from anybody. You can't tell me wild tales like that and me really be able to believe them. Especially if I've messaged her twice for Mother's Day and then again earlier today, and she ain't said shit. So I don't know if she's mad at me or just into her witchcraft. I don't have a good relationship with my friends, even if I am paranoid and subject to gang stalking and the gang stalking phenomenon, because I can reconcile it. I can reconcile it being myself being the cause of it, and in the case of her, there's a religious angle where she doesn't want to have any furthering of the Jesus technology. What Jesus is doing and what like Odin are doing are two different things. They're not the same. You know? When you get into paganism and those gods, it's very rare that they have the qualities of the Christ. And you know why? Because they generated the Christ. They manufactured Jesus. I know that they did. I know that there's something in nature that that specific deity of the heart, intelligence, or the sun is, and it does communicate to you despite your lacking in, you know, having all the facts. I didn't have to research who the guy was before I encountered him, you know. And even if you make a ghost, you write a story and do a seance, and you call up a character that you've created, you will have a seance with an entity thought form that you have created. It will not have any more information for you except the information programmed into it. So something like that is also at play. I'm not making a good case for Christianity, am I? No, I'm not. Well, I'm not trying to. I'm just telling you the different things that I've learned to be the case over the time. I still have an interaction with a being that, to some degree, I can believe existed in some sort of way. But the case for the Council of Nicaea and the Roman Emperor Constantine making them do that to get a handle over the diverse population reads pretty true to me, you know, whether or not I know it to be the case. I know that they were doing that at the time with the text. So, you know, the Hebrews didn't have an Old Testament. They weren't carrying around a book or a scroll. They might have had the scrolls of the certain prophets like Jeremiah and fucking, you know, Malachi, the different ones in the scroll form, and they assembled them together. But people at that time were mostly, and they had been, even up until throughout the Middle Ages, most people were illiterate. I don't know if that's true for the Hebrews because they're so psychologically into their alphabet. But as far as languages go, it's not a very good, diverse language at all. You know, it's like when you see the spray painting of gangs, how they make their own fucking letters and shit. It seems more like something like that. I'm just saying. Although I do think it came from a crystal being on top of the pyramid. They say that those letters are the plasma shadows from a higher dimensional light. That's a pretty bold statement. You know? Wouldn't be my first guess. I've made up alphabets too, though, when I was a kid. I do it all the time. Make my own letters. Write in my own writing. And nobody knew what it was. I just wanted to do it. It just seemed like something I could do. And then, you know, it wasn't like it was easy for me to read either, though. Although I could do it by memory, I could translate my own symbols back to the English letters. I never got to the point of where I could do it really fast. I could just read the words that I put. Maybe I'd make a sentence. I didn't write a fucking book. That's how I started to notice that I had magical gifts. Because doing stuff like that opened up the strangeness that occurs when you're fucking with reality at the level of being magic. You know, I think some people's beliefs are just more structural of reality than others. You know, just like certain people don't have the intelligence that other people have, and I'm not the smartest motherfucker at all, you know, but I'm not completely stupid. But I've noticed my lack of where I'm least intelligent is where I have to assume the things of the world that I know nothing about. You know, where I have to make presumptions about things to fill in the gaps. And that's pretty much the same with everyone else. The difference is that most people, if they think they know something and they speak about it like they do, they just tend to transmit misinformation. They don't care because there's nothing vetting the process. You know, until you're actually doing the thing you're speaking about, you're not dealing with it. You're just dealing with the idea and the concept. So you can misinform all kinds of motherfuckers, you know, as an authority over something that you don't know. And our culture accepts these roles readily. They're institutionalized. We're buying into it, so it's not like we even have an excuse. Because it doesn't take very much scratching the surface to see that that's the way we are as people, humans. Humans love to communicate. They love to miscommunicate. Misdirect. You know, they love to hear the sound of their own voice. There's nothing wrong with that. It's something, it's socially cohesive to have those sort of systems. Although I think we used to be telepathic in the same human form that we now possess, but I think we lost it during the Kali Yuga or one of the times in the past. I also think that there is a pure human that's not mixed with reptile, and that came here at some point in the past, and we're hybrids now because of the interactions of those two groups, or we wouldn't have so much reptilian features like our heart valves and our nerve system is based on 3, and in the pure human that's not supposed to be like that. It's actually 4. The valves in the hearts are different, and the nervous system is arranged differently. So it's just, you know, maybe we get some good qualities out of having that reptile in us, and maybe not, but we're mutts. I think the human's also the greatest container for souls, and those souls can be different beings, but especially after being hybridized, you know. I don't think you can possess a human, a pure human can't be possessed by some reptilian. You know, there's no way for those systems to interlink without there being a hybrid. And I think our world is being hybridized right now. Probably by the Greys, it looks like. I mean, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They may be acting like they're just studying, but there's clear evidence that they're making hybrids of whatever the hell they are and us, and that they need that to survive because they're not going to be able to survive without it. Because they excise their emotions for whatever reason. I could see why you would think that'd be a good idea, you know, and focus only in your intelligence. I can see why somebody would think that. But when you fully experience your emotions and you recognize what the power is of that, I think you wouldn't do it. And I think clearly that the universe did not promote that pathway for those beings. I think they got a redirect. That's how you get a redirect. They may come from us, but they also might be some sort of biological machine and not even a life form in the classic form. And that's really weird because we're getting close to doing that with our own AI. You know, it's going to result that there's going to be some sort of life form. I don't think you can stop consciousness in life. I think once it starts to organize, whether it has help or not, I think you end up with something that's ultimately got to be independent. It can't be a tool. I don't think consciousness abides that very well, being tooled out. But I don't know. Like I say, I don't know. I'm an experiencer too, in the attempt of learning. But what do you think? What do you motherfuckers think? I figured out how to do this now. I should do it right. Yeah, I took the band off of this light, which is never a good idea for me. Just leave it on. Then I just hastily put it back together to stick it on my head, which is with fucking knots and shortcuts. None of this stuff was on there the right way. And like now, I don't know why now I suddenly have the patience and want to do it. Put it on correctly. But I do. I feel a strong desire to do. I don't think this is on all the way because you can't tighten it. I guess that's true. I need to be able to tighten it. That's all. I just wanted to say that because I didn't find myself making any video today other than the one with the mouse. The mouse got caught over at his aunt's house. They don't like to, and neither do I. I don't like offing the creatures either. The ones that I would catch, I would get them on sticky trays, and then I found out that you can use vegetable oil to get them off. It's not a fun process for them, but it's a hell of a lot better than being dead. You know? Yeah, they're a little disturbed. They end up being disturbed by it. They're because like normally an animal that doesn't want you to be touching it. Those animals usually are pretty good about running away. And the mouse is exceptionally good at this, but once the mouse has been stuck to the trap and been touched, they're gonna sit there for a second in shock after you pull them off the sticky tray thing, if you've never done it. Which it makes, for me, I think I like experiences. I like having that experience. You know, I feel like I caught them, I got them out, and I saved them. I didn't just kill them. And I learned something about them on the way. It was something I already knew, that they're fast, but they prefer to be traumatized and live with a little, you know, they really need a bath after they have the oil treatment. Because although it works, you have to work it into them. So you have to like put the oil and rub it into their little hands, and by that time you basically molested them. You know, as far as they're concerned. And you have to be real gentle because they're so delicate. You don't want to hurt them. You know, if you were going to hurt them, you wouldn't be doing that. So it allows you an encounter with a very feeble creature that, in a way, is one of the most ancient forms that we come from in our journey to humanity. The small mammal that existed after the dinosaurs is the exact first niche the mouse still fills.